up? There he is, Primetime 99 himself, Alex Stein. What's happening, my friend?
Dude. I'm trying to get all set up. Sorry, I'm kind of doing this. I'm always $1 late, or a day late and $1 short. But I hope you can see me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Looking wonderful.
I'm on the grind. Okay, so right now I just filmed a campaign video at SMU, and now I'm on my way to do a thing. Sky News Australia is doing election coverage in Dallas, Texas. Isn't that random?
That's crazy.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think they give a shit about? I go on Sky News a lot, but why do you think they give such a crap about American politics?
I wonder. It's almost as if, once more, as everything the Democrats accused us of, they're actually the one. The reality is, Joe Biden and the Democrats are the globalist party. And so if you're Australia, you absolutely want a president and an administration that's going to care more about the foreign world than the citizens of this country.
Yeah, that's kind of weird how it's like that, how we do live in such a globalist system. Like, they are really interested, and they probably talk about it. But, dude, that also shows me as a conspiracy theorist, it's all political theater and bullshit because we got a uniparty anyway. All these people, quote-unquote conservatives, Rob, they're all full of shit. I mean, the abortion thing's good, but, they're not. Dan Crenshaw, these guys, the most money to Ukraine, so these guys are freaking dumbasses.
Yeah, but listen, I watched you bully Dan Crenshaw's team. Weren't you shoving people around and things like that? Is it Big Bad Dan?
Like they were the one kicking my ass, which is always how it goes. But because I'm a pimp on a blimp, 6'3", tall like a tree, they're gonna say that I did a bunch of bullcrap. He's a liar, and that's the funny thing too. Is like I got him in 4K, multiple angles. I didn't do what he said I did, and it just shows you these politicians are so ingenuine. Even when I got him like freaking signed, sealed, delivered evidence, you're full of shit. He still wants to propagate that lie because he's such a fraud.
Well, they depend, right? And make no mistake about it, right? When it comes to that establishment level, they depend on sort of gaslighting and that the media will run control for their narrative. They don't know how to deal with someone like you that's filming the situation yourself and correctly making fun of it. So they go back to the same well where it's like, well, we'll just blatantly lie and people will believe it.
No, you're exactly right, too. And that's so funny, like, not to try to bring up all about me, but, like, when I was at Penn State, like, these kids hate Gavin McInnes. They don't even know who Gavin McInnes is. Like, they just want, it's like a dog chasing a car. They don't know what to do, and they get it. Like, they just want to be an activist, quote, unquote. LARP is a political activist, and be emotionally invested in it, but they don't really even give a shit. Like, most people are really populist. Like, most people are just middle down the road, don't care. They're not psychos like you and me, Right. Now, that's awesome. I love Gavin. Hopefully I get to talk to him sometime. First time I ever saw Gavin, he did this hilarious movie called How to Be a Man. But now that he's like persona non grata, you can't laugh at his hilarious shit that he did. Well, I'll still laugh. And I still think that movie's hilarious and Gavin's hilarious. Yeah, and he freaking was like a contributor on Fox News and all that stuff. I mean, he was mainstream, and then they totally just ruined him. The Proud Boys started as a joke, but it's like, dude, because they need a hate group. They have to have that. But they'll never acknowledge Antifa. That's what I don't understand, because I don't know why the liberal side doesn't, denounce Antifa. They almost like Antifa the same way like Republicans, I don't want to denounce a Proud Boy, I guess.
Yeah. Well, what it is they want them as their brown shirts, right? They want, like, for example, take this. When that leak happened, the Supreme Court leak, by the way, if you ever get a chance to ask someone on Capitol Hill there, any results on that Supreme Court leak yet? No, they didn't find out who did that, right? Isn't that weird? They know the intent was, as Alito's came out and admitted, it was to scare the justices. They want to like play with fire where it's like, oh, well, you better listen to us. It'd be a shame. Nice city you got there. It'd be ashamed if it burnt down. But what they don't understand is eventually the shitheads in Antifa are going to turn on them. So when AOC's getting heckled, not just by you, but by leftists, no, she doesn't know how to handle it, right? It's good for them. It's good when they're targeting AOC's opponents. But when it's her, it's like, oh my God, I got the vapors. I don't feel safe.
Dude, that was epic when those people trolled her with that one thing, and she's like, okay. She started speaking Latina like that. Like, she melts down. They don't know how to be heckled. It's hard. As like a comedian, you have to be like a seasoned veteran of dealing with hecklers. Not that I am. I'm just saying, like, it's not easy. Somebody screaming like, you suck and you're a globalist or whatever. It's kind of hard to make yourself look that good. I guess just ignore it. Those are the people that do best with me, like Eric Swalwell. But like, he even at least smiled when I brought up Fang Fang, because he knew he's guilty and he knew it doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
Yeah, that's right. And the reason I don't feel bad for AOC is because remember when there was violence, when there was heckling, when there were people surrounding Republicans' houses, AOC said, "Good, good, get out there and do that," right? And then she can't handle the heat when it's someone like you're not a threatening person, right? You're just someone heckling her, and she doesn't know how to handle it. She has one card, the same card Democrats have all over the place, which is victimhood. So as soon as she's dealt with just a pittance of the same fire she wants to direct at other people, she cries victimhood.
She wants to be the biggest victim in the world, and she had to use it as victim clout.
Now, I don't know if I should be talking about her because the scuttlebutt is that she might have a thing for you. So maybe I shouldn't be criticizing her too much. I don't want to drive a wedge into.
She is going to be my girlfriend, Rob. That's not like they're not talking about my freaking big booty dream girl. But now she's with Elon, so nothing matters. Her whole life is freaking ruined. I'm never going to beat Elon. He's a billionaire. So it's like, what do I even do? Is there even a point anymore?
Well, he might get bored with her at some point, so then you might have a chance on the rebound. I don't know though. I think you're too hard working for her. She's used to a guy that just sits at home. You're on the road working so much. You're like the James Brown of political trolling. I don't know if she could keep up with someone like you.
That's so nice. Wow, the James Brown of trolling. Gosh, I've never had that nice of a compliment. But yeah, I mean, she listen, this is the thing, the sexual chemistry between AOC and me. Her boyfriend Riley got totally cucked by me right there. That was not a conspiracy. That's live in 4K. So he must like that. They must have some weird thing where she can't talk. So I guess she likes to be in a relationship where she's the boss hog. Obviously, I think the boyfriend's like a employee almost.
Well, that's how it is, right? Like a lot of these sort of lefty ladies, they like to wear the pants, right? But secretly they want a masculine guy. That's what's going on. And so when she saw it, she couldn't control the vapors a little, started getting that little accent, she didn't.
She pieced me up. She was trying to act like I committed violent sexual assault, and she's give me peace signs we're at a freaking Snoop Dogg concert. I mean, it's give me a freaking break, AOC. You nailed it though with the victimhood. I wouldn't think that was real because I thought maybe as a politician you want to be I rise above being a victim. I'm the Capes Crusader, quote unquote, or whatever, metaphorically, and not I need Batman to save me. You know what I mean? They're supposed to be the adult in the room, but they still want to be a victim. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. So I got to say, one of the things that I think that you're the right you're not the hero we want, you're the hero we deserve. One of the reasons for that is I think it exemplified in your Penn State where that girl spit on you, which is you exemplified that the correct response to these lunatics is to laugh at them. They have no response. They people like me tried to approach well, let's have a debate, let's have a discussion, let's talk facts. We're beyond that. Laughing at them is the appropriate response.
No, I think the only technique we have is to mock them, sadly. And I hate that it's really gotten to that, but that's really where we are in a society because these people don't want to have a dialogue and they're insane. And then the only person more insane than them is me. So that's why we win this thing because you got a person I'm freaking so insane for the Ukraine. They can't compete with that mental autism.
Yeah. And it's amazing. And I think it's funny in several of your videos that I've watched when you go out and you show that you're not intimidated by the protesters and you're actually here's the thing. They can say what they want about you, but you are funny and they know it. And so they don't know how to react to you, right? They want you to be fuck you, you pieces of shit. But when you don't do that, when you're yeah, thanks, come here. They don't know what to do. They're just
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And it's funny because they always say that stupid thing. And I was on a freaking gay reality show, not actually gay, but it's just gay in the sense of how it was, not homosexual. There's, it was a house you live in with people. My point being about the freaking show, I played the heel, the villain, and that's what I want to be. But you can't just be a villain. You have to have some cunningness. You have to be nice. They don't want just the, bad guy. They want somebody that's cunning and charming. And I'm not even saying that it's an act or something, but when you deal with these people, you just kind of have to be nice. That's the only, if I was out there doing what you're doing, F you try to fight them back, dude, it would come off so bad. So instead you go there trying to befriend them and they obviously won't be your friend. It's the easiest gimmick in the world. That's why I'm not even trying to break the fourth wall, but it's just so funny. That's how we should probably approach all these people because now, dude, you're seeing everywhere where they're talking about pandemic amnesty. No, dude, every blue check mark or doctor and all these idiots that push all this stuff, yeah, you guys should be freaking put on blast, and no doubt about it. But just the human beings like Greta or whatever the girl at Tom Thumb that yelled at me for not wearing my mask at the grocery store, like I'm almost sympathetic to her.
Yeah, I think, for all the stuff you do, like the raps you've done at sort of these council meetings and things like that, the one that I laughed the hardest was just the other day. And it was so subtle. And I forget the exact event you were at, but you were talking, you're like, I got to get home and talk to my husband and wife. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, that is such a subtle, like, and it's one of those things where it's so subtle that if you're one of those woke people on the council, you're like, I'm pretty sure he's pissing with me, but I can't say so, And I laughed so hard at that. I thought it was brilliant.
Rob, that's everybody's favorite jokes. My wife's boyfriend. Everybody loves that. I'm telling you, dude. And I can't believe it hasn't gotten that old yet. I mean, it's still kicking, dude. I said it last night at the thing I was speaking at. And I said it 3 times. And all 3 times, I'm like, how does this just make everybody laugh? I mean, they know I'm joking, too. But it just sounds so absurd. And that's kind of what I try to focus my comedy as. I try to mix absurdity and reality. Like, I try to be as insane as possible with, like, a real veneer. So you're like, is this real or is this fake? Because I'm not going to be – this is another thing that you have to realize, not even trying to give you advice, but I think we're just – because we're conservative, quote, unquote.
Yeah.
We're never going to be, like, the mainstream or, like, the big audience. It's always going to be niche, So it's like – I don't know. I guess for me, it's like I'm just going to try to be as weird as possible. And that's just my form instead of trying to, like, be normal and fit in with everybody. I think you should do that too,
Yeah, well, that's what I was doing. The last panel I was on with you, I was doing trans positive Rob, right? Exactly. And it was because I got all my shit canceled by the radical Twitch trans community, right?
What are we on now? What are we on now? So was that your biggest channel, Rob? Your Twitch? Was that your?
Yeah. So my Twitch never got canceled, but I got strikes on YouTube and my Discord got nuked. But right now we're on Twitch and YouTube.
You totally lost your Discord. Wow. How many people do you have in it?
I had some hundreds in there. I restarted it up now. I got rid of it for like 4 months, went underground, and now I just brought it back, hoping that the trans mafia doesn't come for me. But if they do, they do. But that was my response to it, where I couldn't have I actually talked to reasonable trans people and had reasonable discussions. They weren't the problem. It was the people that never talked to me that was just like, mass report this guy, he's a Nazi. So I was like, okay, if I can't have a civil discussion, then I'll just show the extreme stupidness. So, I was putting out videos that said things like this. If you're a woman, please stop buying tampons. There's a shortage. Please leave it to all the men that need tampons. They need them more than you, and things like that. And they have no response to that. They're just like, Well,
that's where we're at, where they have tampons in the boys' restroom. So that's not even that absurd, because that's a reality. I mean, dude, you can't. I deal with these trans people and stuff. I mean, not that often, but it's just. You're never gonna have like a really good dialogue, like and this is my thing. I don't even care if you're trans, as long as you're like over 18. You want to be trans, whatever, right. Go for it. But it's the underage stuff that's what it kills me. It's like, come on, these kids shouldn't be making decisions. They can't smoke a cigarette. Why should they be able to cut off their genitals? I mean, it just seems like common sense, but they are fighting for that, and that's my only problem. Really, if you're trans, you're an adult. Go ahead. I'll be your friend. I don't know. I mean. I know some people you have some judgment. I really don't give a shit. I mean, I'm exactly
the same. That's how I feel about all of it. And like, look, I'll even go a step further. Like, I think that there's something wrong with you. Call it an illness or whatever. If you're trans, I don't treat people like shit if they're bipolar. I don't treat people like shit if they're depressed. Right.
That's what it is, and I feel sympathetic to that. I am sympathetic to that. But and I don't even want to get into it. But like. The rates. Well, I don't want the trans mafia even coming out.
I know. Yeah, but yeah, no, I know.
But I do not hate trans people. If there's trans people watching this, it's just, it is what it is. It's not good for children to be transitioning, and that what all Keffels does is basically help that.
Yeah, and it's this sort of it's a pattern of damaging and indoctrinating kids that we see on other levels as well. It's probably the most grotesque one, but it's a pattern that we see.
And I support whatever, they do as an adult. And I know I keep saying that to make myself whatever sound so assured, but it's like, I just don't know why it's become this huge cultural thing. Even Hillary Clinton said it's not good for the political movement, but it's just, they harp it on us. Trans. And I just think it's a small part of our population. It's like such a weird thing. I would have never guessed this as a young kid. Even when I took it in college, I took a class about like, I think it was women's and gender, or maybe it's just a gender class, and it talks about intersex people. And that's why they have all these reassignment surgeries and all this medicine, because there are medical applications for it. But now it's just the system's been abused with gender dysphoria.
Well, that's what I like. One of the things I love about you is I was explaining this earlier when I was talking about you. I don't feel like you set down and focus group the issues you talk about. You're like an artist. You have a gut feeling. You're like, this is what's funny to me. And every good comedian is counterculture. They're punching up. No one thinks it's funny to punch down, to make fun of homeless people or poor people. What you're doing is making fun of the absurdity of people that are in cultural positions of power. And I think that without even having to think about it, you realize the absurdity of this situation. Like, it's not that you're not empathetic. Like, of course, adult trans people, I have no problem with it. The problem is the absurdity of their position when it comes to, like, mutilating children or forever changing their lives with hormones. And the best way to deal with it is just to show the absurdity through humor of what these positions really mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's just putting a mirror to it. I mean, that phrase got coined, culture jamming, and it is like a real thing. It's like just kind of letting them be themselves, but just kind of putting a mirror up to it. And if people are going to wake up, they're going to wake up. If not, they're not. It's just how it is. But I'm also a populist. Like, I really hate abortion. I'm so happy abortion's gone. But I can definitely understand why somebody would want to have an abortion, though. So I can be empathetic to that. But I'm happy that they can. But they still can go get it. So it's not even really gone.
Right. Well, and that's what I say. It's like, look, if you're being honest with yourself, even if I think abortion's terrible and it's the extinguishing of a life, I could see that there are compelling arguments of the other side, right? For example, bodily autonomy is very important. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I sympathize with that. But so I can deal with people that are pro-choice. What I can't deal with, though, are the people that are like abortion up until the day of birth. That is so grotesque. I don't even want to associate.
Overwhelmingly, when they survey people, people that are pro-choice say there should be a term limit, like whether first trimester or second trimester. They all put a limit. They all like. And then these politicians, I think it's literally like 90%. But then these politicians want it up until after birth because the the medical industrial complex, they need these baby parts for whatever, for lotions. Like, they love these fetuses. That's why these Planned Parenthood people always get caught with a fetus in their freaking house. They're like, what? Who would have a baby part in their house except for a psychopath?
Yeah,
so it's weird that happened.
It's monstrous. And again, like, I don't even understand. Like, their argument that I think both, I mean, even before, like, you were kind of doing things on the national level, when you were doing the Conspiracy Castle, right? Like, we talk to people that disagree with us, and we don't hate them. Like, I can talk with people that disagree with me in all sorts of positions. But there are some positions, like the sexuality of children or, like, abortion up until the day of birth, that I don't know how to deal with. I can't act like that's not grotesque. I just can't. And unfortunately, that abortion position is the official position of the Democratic Party. No laws restricting. It's between a woman and her. That means if the woman wants to have the abortion up till the day of birth, no problem. It's so grotesque, and I'm glad that people like you are out there using comedy to just show how extreme these positions are.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even what people want, even the people that are quote unquote pro-choice. So it's just, I guess I'm saying quote unquote. It sounds kind of cringe to say that, but yeah, I'm about to freaking do this Sky News thing. Like I said, it's kind of funny how they spend a lot of money to come down here and film, but that means they're all vaccinated. That's kind of
that's good. Don't forget your mask. They'll be freaking out in Australia, But hey, Alex, I can't thank you enough for. Oh, go ahead.
Well, thank you, dude. I'm getting kind of bad service, but I'm here to Rob, and maybe I'll patch in later. Send me the link when I'm done with this. I'll try to link up, maybe. Or how much longer are you going?
I'm going till 7 a.m. tomorrow, so.
Oh yeah, I'll try to hop on later time when I'm in bed or something.
All right, man. Hey, take it easy. Thanks so much for the time. Everyone, Primetime 99, Alex Stein on the grind.
Good night, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you, man. You take it easy. Be safe.